So first thing that we need to know is what this CPCTC is, okay? So corresponding is correct. That's where the first C comes from. Corresponding parts of congruent
triangles.
There's your second C. Triangles is correct. Are congruent. So you are correct. Okay? So CPCTC. Corresponding parts of congruent triangles are congruent. Yes, it is a mouthful. So as always, I like to draw a picture to go with it to help explain. Okay? So I am going to draw a triangle and another triangle exactly the same. Triangle ABC and triangle DEF. Question.
Is there going to be like a reason?
This is going to be a reason. Yes. Yes. Correct. So good. Okay. All right. Triangle ABC is going to be congruent to triangle DEF. Okay. So I am telling you right off the bat that the two triangles are congruent, and I haven't given you any tick marks, any reason like SAS, HL, any of that, okay? So as of right now, you are just trusting me in the fact that the two triangles are congruent. Yes. Now, CPCTC, corresponding parts of congruent triangles are congruent, says if ABC is congruent to DEF, then particular parts are congruent. So it's kind of going to go back to the very first section of the chapter. What's congruent? Give me a set of corresponding parts that are congruent. Alexis.
Angle A is congruent to
She says angle A is congruent to angle D. Marcos, give me another one.
Angle B is congruent to angle E.
Angle B is congruent to angle E. Somebody give me another one.
Angle C is congruent to angle F.
Angle C is congruent to angle F. Now, we can keep going. How many times would we do this? 6. Why 6?
Because you have three lines and then 3 angles.
3 sides, 3 angles. Okay, so all we're saying is, hey, if the triangles are congruent, the parts of the triangle are congruent. That's what CPCTC stands for. Okay? It is going to be a reason in our proof. It's going to be 1 extra line. That's all it's going to be. So everything that we've been doing with our proofs stays exactly the same. We just add 1 piece. Okay? So when I go and look at example number 1, okay, they want us to show that angle A is congruent to angle D. I am not marking that in the picture because I don't know it yet. What I have to do is I have to come up with a reason why the triangles are congruent. Why are they congruent? All right, so BC's reflexive with BC. So now, why is triangle ABC congruent to triangle DBC? Why is that? Because of SSS. So the triangles are congruent. Can we now conclude that angle A is congruent to angle D? No. Yes. Because the angles are congruent, the parts are now congruent, and so these are going to be congruent by C, P, C, T, C. Okay? Corresponding parts of congruent triangles are congruent. Okay? Does that make sense? Okay? All right. So we'll take a look at an example of a proof. Okay? So, concepts to think about. Number 1, in your proof, first show the triangles congruent. Okay? So if you think back to the example that we just kind of talked through, okay, we first said that ABC is congruent to DBC. Then we showed the parts were congruent by CPCTC. Okay, so the very first thing you want to do is show that the triangles are congruent. Okay, and then the second thing is basically use CPCTC to say parts congruent. Okay? So in my example that I see here, okay, I didn't write out the givens and all that stuff. I think you guys are starting to figure that out. So we're going to go based upon the picture, okay? It says that our objective is to prove that angle A is congruent to angle C. Do not mark that in the picture because I don't want you to use that as a reason why the triangles are congruent. We have to prove the triangle is congruent without A being congruent to C. So can anybody explain to me why the triangles are congruent? Like HL, AAS, etc. David? He says SSS. Where's the third set of sides? Okay, so there you go. So in our proof, we would say that AD is congruent to DC, given. We would say that AB is congruent to CB, given. They gave us both of those with the red tick marks. He just said that BD is congruent to BD because of reflexive. Okay? We have sides congruent, sides congruent, sides congruent, 3 congruent statements, which tells me now I can say that triangle ABD is congruent to triangle CBD, and my reason is SSS like he says, okay? So I've done step 1. I showed the triangles are congruent. My very next line is going to be angle A is congruent to angle C because of, very good, you got it, CPCTC. So it's really the same stuff we've been doing, just one extra line, okay? That's it, okay? All right? Questions? So you've got this example here, okay? If you can do it with your tables, again, don't mark LM congruent to LQ. I don't want you to use that as part of your reason. If you do a good job with this, we're done with the notes today, and you can go cheer on Z Cubbies after you get the homework done in class, okay? All right, so you should have your 2 givens. You should be able to figure out the vertical angle theorem on your own. Triangles are congruent by AAS. And then our new line, the red one, the part we're trying to prove congruent is congruent by CPCTC, okay? All right, questions on that?
I
Yes,
just had a quick question.
yes.
So the angle NLM and is congruent to PLQ, that wouldn't be definition of midpoint? Because of the...
No, they're vertical angles. Midpoint is for showing segments congruent,
Okay.
not angles congruent, okay? Questions there?